Hello, my name is Stephanie Richardson. I'm in long-term recovery. My clean date is October 26, 1994. I'd like to tell you a little about myself. Right now, I am a support specialist for an organization called R.O.S.S. I grew up in a spiritual and very loving and God-fearing home. My mother had 6 children. I'm the third child. Growing up was all I knew was church, church, with people that was very God fearing and loved the Lord, and they loved helping people. And at the time coming up as a child, I didn't understand it. Um, Most times, no for me meant yes, because I always was very curious. I always was a very curious person. If I set my mind to do something, I was gonna do it. But I learned that even though no matter how I got out there and I messed up, that the prayers of the saints had me covered, of my family. There was times I would get out there and someone would say, call home. I would call home and my mom would say, the Lord told me to take your picture out and anoint it. And I think mostly that I was running from the Lord. I thought that I can block him out. Um, I could get away from the church because my mom was she had so much faith to it just undescribable. She would tell us to set the table when there wasn't no food in the refrigerator. She would tell us to set the table, and I would say, "This lady crazy. She know ain't no food in that refrigerator." But for the day, before the day was over, we had food abundantly. And she always used to say, she'd look at us and say, I dare you to trust my Jesus. I dare you to trust my God. I ended up being introduced to this guy. He was my childhood love. And I thought that um I ended up having 6 kids by him. We was the parents and I became a mother at 14. And by the age of 20 I had 6 kids. And at that time, um, I was curious because I found out that he was using drugs, and I couldn't understand why he would go out there with other people and other women and use drugs, not knowing that he was trying to keep it from me. That's not a life that he wanted for me. But I was so curious until I got with some of his friends out of spite, knowing that what wanted to find out whatever they was doing, and they introduced me to it and allowed me to experiment with it. And that's how my journey began. And during that time, I was all right to let my mom and them blame my children father for the mistake that I made. And I could say I think that was my worst mistake, because I knew who better to lie to me than me. And I got good at that with my parents now, because they thought everybody else influenced me. And that was something that I just didn't understand as a child, to make me feel like I was so rebellious. It's looked like nobody was good enough to play with us. Nobody was good enough to talk to us, because they was always worried about the influence of what their parents did, or what environment they had in their house or whatever. But as I got older, I'm glad that I went through what I had to go through. I ended up going to prison. I ended up going to prison 5 times. And each experience for me in prison was very different. Um, when I went to prison, people always saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And I became very rebellious in prison because people always saw something in me And like I said, if you say yes, I'm going to say no. And I'm determined to show y'all that I'm not that person that y'all say I am. And another thing I learned, hurt people hurt people. First time I went to prison, I only did like 90 days and I went down because I wouldn't tell on somebody else. The worst thing I could have done. Um, the second time I ended up going down, I ended up doing 4 years. And I stayed in trouble, my own trouble. I was my worst enemy. And I had a reputation because when I came in, I was gonna let you know that I was really scared, I believe, but I was gonna get you before you got me. And I wasn't all right with that reputation, but other people, like the officer and different ones, like when I first went, they made me go in the kitchen because I couldn't cook and I had 6 kids. They made me go to school, and I always had jobs like I was a teacher's aide. I took my GED, passed on the first time, made straight A's in school. Um, but now I see maybe God allowed me to go through the things that I had to go through to get me where I am today. Um, as I say, I went to prison 5 times. I ended up going to work release on near my last time, and I got sent to work release as a trustee. They just show you how God worked because I was in so much trouble, I could never get accepted for work release. And the lady that, like I said, that I cooked for in the kitchen, excuse me, she was a supervisor, and she put in because I was getting denied so much for work release. The last time they gave me a piece of paper, I threw it in the garbage. The lady got the paper out of the garbage and she filed it. And I was able to go to work release on a trial basis. And I could only leave the building with an officer. I couldn't wear the free wear clothes like everybody else wore. I couldn't go out the building unless an officer or somebody was with me. But that's how I got my driver license. And that's so finally the warden put in for me a request to become in work release status. I became in work release status and I got a job and I was the first inmate to be able to work in, it was called Morrison Cafeteria then, I was the first one. And they said that I had to be an example to find out whether they wanted to work with people that was incarcerated. Well, I found out I was a very good worker, and I could say that I'm a type of person where I have to go through in order to learn a lesson. And I must say, even with my children, when it came to them, I never did what DHR wanted me to do once they decided they wanted to get into my business. Um, because I always felt and knew that, thank God I had all 6 of my children by one person. And my mother and his mother was very active with our kids. They took our slack when we was out there in our mess. Um, they never got along, but they would come together when it came time for the best interests of our children. And I can remember going to court, and the judge told both grandparents to leave the courtroom. And she asked me, "You sure hold up today?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." I said, "You touched me where you know it hurt it." She said, "No, go on, run out the courtroom, go on, run. You've been running from us. You won't do what I asked you to do." She said, "But don't think that I don't know. You think your children untouchable, that one of the grandmothers gonna get them." She said, "DHR, get those Richardson children." That really brought some attention in my life. And I told her that day, I said, "I'm ready to go to prison. I'm ready to go do what I got to do. I'm not running anymore. I'm tired. She told me that she was writing down on a piece of paper that she was gonna take my children, that I was never going to be able to have parental rights with them again, and she'll see me. When I got in prison, said it was the fifth time, and I started. My mom wrote me a letter, and she told me, "Here's $25. You can never write here or call here again." I'm saying, "No, she just mad. You know, she should be all right." But when the phone calls didn't go through, the letters started coming back. I started beginning to look at myself. I got in the drug dorm. It was very difficult me in the drug dorm because I would always put me in the way of what God had planned for me. You was able to get 3 speeding tickets in a 16-week program. In the first 4 weeks, I had two. I had one more to go. Um, she would always take me up front to the authorities about me. And one time, one of the lieutenants told me, she said, "Stephanie, what's your problem?" She said, "If somebody don't want you to succeed, you should want to show them better. That I can do this, that I can make this." She said, "Because I believe in you. I know you can do it." No one had ever said that to me in a long, long time. And it came to the point where every time I wanted to act up, I remember her words. And I really, really put myself into that program. And I would write the judge every week and let her know what I was doing, how I felt, how I was feeling, and you know, and I graduated from the drug dorm. The day we got ready to graduate from the drug dorm, which changed my life, I believe, was um she said that I said, "I'll be so glad the graduation over. I'm ready for it to be over." And she said that I got this special certificate for a person that she said I created this. She said was more likely to succeed. She said, "Boy, it was a lot of struggles, a lot of ifs and ands." She said, "But at the end, she brought it on." So she was helpful to the group. She gave good feedback. And I said, "I wish you'd go and call that person's name because I'm ready to go." She said, "Stephanie Richardson, come get this certificate." Y'all, all these years in prison, I had never cried. And I refused to let anybody see me cry. But that day I cried. Because it meant, I thought I was too tough for things to mean so much. And I found out that there was a lot of hurt inside a little young girl that really had children and still trying to grow up herself, but was trying to be grown. So I still say hurt people because I started this program while it was called inmate aid to inmate mothers, and it would bring the mothers in to see their children from like DHR. The churches got together in the neighborhood and they would bring the children. Like I said, I was hurt because I wanted to see my own children. But I wasn't going to let nobody know that what was wrong with me, that I really was missing my own. I was missing my family. I wasn't talking to them. So I would take my hurt out on other people. And it tended me to stay in lockup a lot. One day, the lady that came in with me, she told me, she said, "Richardson, stay out of trouble for a month." She said, "Please," she said, "because God gonna bless you." For some reason, not to my own understanding, I did stay out of trouble for a month. And she, when a visit came, I normally get the visitation list where I could tell who can get on them, but she didn't put my children's name on them. And She told me that I normally work the gate to check off the list as the people come in. But this strange day, she told me to work the inside. And I worked the inside. And when I saw my children walk in the door, I had to do a double take. I thought I was seeing a ghost or seeing something strange. She had taught my mom into coming and let me see my children. Just to hold my children and see my mom, I broke down and I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried. And it kind of brought a whole lot of relief off of me. Not knowing that I was hurting, just how much I was hurting inside. And a lot of that hurt was causing all my problems. So I guess I had some traumatic things in my past, in my life. Even working my fifth step, I found out I had embedded a lot inside of me that I should have talked about, but I didn't know how to go to my mother because they were so strict and they thought that prayer could change everything. You know that I love the Lord, I believe in God, but sometimes you have to go to somebody that understand you, that's going through what you're going through. So if I had to give anybody some encouragement, I would tell them, believe in you. Know your worth. No one loves you like you love you. Hug yourself every day. Look in the mirror and say, I am beautiful. I can do this. Because I know that God took a nobody like me and he changed my life. As I got out, I was able to go back before that same judge. And when she was giving me my children back, she told me it was a pleasure. She showed me a blank piece of paper with the things she told me she wrote down about not having the rights. And all that again, she never wrote them down. But see, I'm grateful for that lady today because she changed my life. As I got into the working world and I started working in the Myerson, I remember they tried to give me a promotion. I didn't want a promotion because I'm already in prison and y'all want me to take y'all money and all that. So I ran back to the ceiling and thought I was gonna go on me another job. Well, the general manager came. He said, "Why you're not at work today?" I said, "I don't work there anymore." He said, "Yes, you do." He said, "I told you, you're not getting away from me." He said, "You're the best worker that I have." And he told the warden and everybody that he had offered me a raise. They asked me why I didn't take it. I told them. So they sent me back to work. I worked at Morrison for 8 years, and working changed my life. People started giving me the support and believing me. You know, when you've been out there and you gonna been to your Lord, I don't know about y'all, but for me, it felt real good to for somebody to believe in a person like me. I was able to. It took me a long time to kind of to build a relationship back with my children, because you know, as parents, we always believe that our kids do as we say. But my sponsor had to tell me, your kids got a voice too. And it's their right to tell you what they went through and how they felt that you wasn't in their life. And my kids began to tell me what they went through as I was incarcerated and when I was away out there doing my mess. But I was able to tell my kids for the first time that I don't blame other people anymore. I blame me. And I'm so sorry, y'all. Because see, we all feel that they safe long as they with grandmother or they with auntie. But my mom just always tell me, Stephanie, I can't be their mom. Ain't nobody like mom. And my daughter would cry afterwards and tell me I had nobody to talk to when I had girl things to talk about. When I run home and I just want to put my arms around you. When I see my friends and they with their mama, you never think things like that mean a lot to you in your life, but they meant so much. I had a son that got out there and sold drugs where he could take care of his sisters and brothers. Now I can remember in 1998, May 28, 1998, I got out of prison and my oldest two boys picked me up. And that son told me, he said, it's the proudest day of my life where you could come get your children, where I could have a life, I could go to school. He said, don't you think I got dreams and I got hopes? He said, but if you go into prison, I don't have a mom. That embedded deep inside me. And I prayed. I closed my eyes and I prayed that day. And I said, Lord, I always been your child. I know you have never left me because I can see all the love and the angels that you have always strung around me. But I'm tired, Lord. To this day, I haven't been back to prison. Today I got a pardon. I'm so grateful. I work for an organization called R.O.S.S. It's a recovery organization of support specialists. And in my life, I got to meet. It's coming around. I got to meet New Awakening, and I met Miss Gigi and I met Martina. And when I met them, their spirit was so good and so kind and so God fearing that I enjoyed being around them. Because sometimes, you got to change your surroundings, you got to change your people. So I can encourage somebody to change we must. All the time, our family, don't blame our family because sometimes they don't know how to help us. Sometimes they haven't been where we been. But there's somebody out there that loves you, want to help support you. We can't take the place of family, but we can be there for you at the time of need. First thing, we got to listen. We got to be teachable. And if I had a word of encouragement, I would let you know that you can do this. Because God will make somebody out of nobody. I often listen to that song where you sing, I'm just a nobody, trying to tell everybody about somebody. I feel like that's me. And I always told people that I was like Job and I was like Jonah. All the while I was running, I felt like when God was telling me to go to Denver and I wanted to go everywhere I wanted to go, he would always swallow me and took me out of prison in that Will's belly. Each time he'll throw me back up. Sometimes I head on that road to Denver, but some way I always got on that crooked road. I wouldn't stay on the straight road. Then I feel like I got two boys. One died in 2010. He died in his sleep. And I remember telling the Lord that I could not make it if I lost another child. But I was so grateful, y'all, that they didn't have to find me. That I was able to make some decisions. I was able to say where he was, to pick his casket. I was able to be in control for the first time. Already the guilt and the pain was bothering me that with them last two children that I was on drugs. And I had it in my mind that I could smoke those two children up because I was young. I know it sounds crazy, but I was young. But God had another thing fit for me. He did those two boys come into this world. And they now one time said, hey, Mom, you done this to us. Maybe we got problems because you did this to us. Which the only problem they had, they had sleep apnea and narcolepsy. And I also have sleep apnea today. But God got me through that one. Remind y'all, I told God that I could never go through bearing another child. But yes, I did. March the 22nd, 2010, I buried my first child. February 22nd, 2021, I buried my second son, my baby son. I qualified to use, but I would not trade the love and respect and the expectations that those kids gave me to even think about it. And I don't question God. So I want you to know whatever you're going through or whatever you may go through, just keep trusting in God and believing God. He'll make a way. Because I only know that I only sit here to tell you my story is by the grace of God. Because no matter what I went through, God was always there. It reminded me of the story of the footprints in the sand. When they said that one set of footprints, I know it wasn't mine. I know it was always God carrying me. Because He had to carry me a lot. What I do now for R.O.S., I go out into the community. I sit in different organizations, New Awakening. I set up tables and tell you about our program, what our program has to offer, help you get the resources that you need. If you need to go in treatment or you need a mentor, I'm in the probation office, we're in the hospitals, we're in the jail. And I never thought that God would take a nobody like me and use me to help somebody. So once again, I tell you that God can use anybody. Because see, He had to reach way down to save me. But I know one thing, which I always says in God's word, that once God in you, you'll never depart from it. I also feel like, in the Bible talk about the prodigal son. I feel that I'm the prodigal daughter. And I was so grateful that before my mom got to pass, she got to see me clean. And thank you for listening to my story.
You can make it. This trial you're going through, God's gonna show you what to do. You can make it. You can make it. I don't care what's going wrong. God won't let it last too long. You're not in this thing alone. You can make it. So stand still and know that He is God. And there's no need to fight, for the battle is not yours. The battle is the Lord's. Stand still and know that He is God. And there's no need to can make it. You can make it. This trial you're going through, God's gonna show you what to do. You can make